They're like, what bands are you listening to? Milo Green.
Who's that? Nah, that's good. How they been? How's the band doing?
Good. They just released a third album.
Did they? What is it called?
Adult Contemporary, because it's kind of tongue-in-cheek with adult contemporary.
They got a single off that album?
They do. It's called Move.
Move?
Yeah.
Why not play it again? They got a new album. Shit.
Follow the growth.
That's it.
Right?
That's it, baby. Hook them up.
Okay, so
That's the only reason I'm here.
That's okay. That's okay. You gotta, I'm just happy y'all still together.
Me too.
Damn.
What a shock that things work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
How long it's been now?
A year and a half.
Ooh.
And really healthy.
That's a record for them.
Why do you look bewildered?
I know. Kindness and communication.
This exists?
Yeah, it
it's
does.
all working, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even lizards can find love.
They can, and it's not just concrete in the sun.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you ever concerned that concrete in the sun? That was pretty good. You ever concerned you're going to mess it up?
Yeah, of course.
A good relationship?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I'm very straightforward about my opinions, and so like I'm like have no boundaries. I want to talk about everything, and you're like, well, this might be too much, and you don't want to say the wrong thing, but like really sensitive about how you communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be cognizant of all of that.
Yeah.
When in a relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. But you don't compromise who you are in it.
That's the problem.
She's a lot of who she is.
Nah, but he has to appreciate that because speaking as a man, you just really kind of, the kind of man the men I know.
Yeah.
When we sit around and, peel potatoes and chop up meat, that's the sort of thing we talk about. We want a kind of woman that's just straightforward, got an opinion, might not agree with mine, but doesn't mean that the love doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right, HB?
Yeah, that works.
That works, right?
Mm-hmm. It's taken some time to evolve to this point, though. Mm-hmm. It wasn't all the while that men just wanted like independence in their face. Like I feel like a lot of men maybe went into like an identity crisis some years ago. I feel like that was the rebirth of beards, with women just rising in so many different like areas that were male dominated. It's like, so what do we do besides peel potatoes?
And
chop up meat.
Chop up meat. Kill a few rodents type things,
Ooh, or spiders.
You feel like we went
So
through
the
an
cabin.
identity crisis.
I'm not sure, like, I just, because men, when you think about your role in society, it's been the same for so long.
Yeah.
Provide and protect. But women, it's like every year something's different. Oh, we get to wear pants now. Oh, we can cut our hair. Oh, we can be a secretary. Oh, we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every year it's been evolving, like the role of a woman to the point where it's like, we never saw it coming that a woman could make more than a man, like the household. So it's like a weird adaptation.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that, Lizard?
All I'm thinking about is like 1920s, and women decided to chop their hair off, and it was like the most political thing they can do, and the only job they could still have then was like be a secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like within 100 years, it's completely different.
So much shifting.
Yeah.
Completely different. Okay.
That got deep really quick.
I wasn't there for it.
Yeah,
but I watched Thoroughly Modern Millie. It's a great musical.
That's where you get your history from.
Musicals.
All right. Elizabeth Olsen is here. We're going to talk about the new series. It's called Sorry for Your Loss, premiering Tuesday.
Yeah, September 18th.
18th on Facebook. Watch.
4 episodes.
4 episodes.
4 episodes and 2 episodes every week after that.
Okay, this is all brand new. It's a new approach, right?
It is a
And
new
you're
world out
executive
there.
producer.
Yes, I am.
That's
There's so
dope.
many new
Huge.
things.
I'm giving you that.
Yeah. I was like, what did I do to the mic?
She's like, is Heather going to punch me?
She was just like, wait a minute. We could do that now.
I saw
Liza.
big rings, and I was like, oh, no.
No, because I think to y'all's point, that's fly too. Like we are seeing more women EP projects bring their projects to the forefront and getting that credit at the end. I think it's important, and it also makes you ask questions. I remember being a little kid watching television shows, and we would see these names, Norman Lear. You would just not know exactly what these people did, and then now to see women's names, follow executive producer. Like I just think it's dope. So shout out to you for that.
Thanks. It's been a project I've been a part of for almost 3 years now, from just reading the pilot, and I did not realize I was going to be as active as a producer as I was. But I am such a micromanager. The moment we wrapped Picture, and went to post-production. I thought, well, I'll give notes on the edits from home and I can take a break. And I ended up just being in every like sound mixing thing and working with the composer. I'm not saying that this is my creation, but because everything's a team effort and compromises and all those things. But I was just trying so hard to micromanage.
You were I was going to ask you.
It was like a week and a half ago we finished sound mixing it. The last episode.
How do the folks that work being an EP, so they pretty much kind of work for, do they work for you, or how would you? With you.
Yeah.
All right. And how did they, and these are obviously professionals, how did they, and you are obviously a well-experienced professional, did they mind the micromanagement, or?
No, I mean, we had 6 EPs, and 4 of us were creatives. So that's a lot of creative opinions, and even if you have the same references, you don't always create that thing. So it was always just constant conversation, and it was the most amazing learning experience to figure out like how best to communicate with all these different kinds of people. But when it came to like being on set, which is my favorite experience, we had the most incredible crew. And with television, or at least the way we shot, I was the most consistent thing on set besides the crew, because you have different directors, you have different written by episodes. And so that was like my family, and I loved it so much, and I love being a part of a crew.
Yeah, you really command the screen too in this role. It's Lee, right?
Yeah, Lee.
Lee Shaw, who and when I watched the first episode,
thanks for watching it.
Oh no, man, listen, I've always told you since Martha, Marcy, May, and Marlene.
Yeah.
I've been a huge fan of yours as an actor, and I didn't know in the first episode what it, I didn't read about it.
Right.
So I just knew the title, and I was like, oh, she's coming on the show. I want to see what she's doing. And
That's so nice of you.
Absolutely. And in the way, I don't even want to give up too much because it's not out yet, but it's about grieving a serious loss, right? And I didn't know that I've never been inside of a grieving club, or what do you
grief group.
Grief group, and watching the mechanics of how that work, and even the dynamics of people who are in these grief groups, and how they seek understanding, probably relief, probably release through it all. I thought you really captured the emotion of somebody grieving the kind of loss that your character is grieving extremely well, because we've all lost people in our families, right?
Yeah, it's an inevitable experience that we all have to go through, and especially as a Western culture, I feel like we don't really communicate about it. We don't really know how to have the conversation. We don't know how to treat others who are going through it. And this isn't like a bells and whistles kind of show. There's a lot of monotony when it comes to loss. It's really slow of a process, but there's also a lot of humor. She specifically is a difficult personality to console. And she's going through, I feel like as we all get older, you go through different kinds of losses that you learn how to be this person going through anything difficult or traumatic. And this is her first.
This is her
and
first.
And she is not the most elegant.
She's losing it. And I'll tell, she lost her, I can say that.
Yeah.
She lost her, you play
her
a
husband.
character that lost her husband, played by Mamadou Athi, right?
Yeah, Ati.
Okay. And you don't really kind of get all of that until, I love the flashback scenes.
Yeah.
And when you see those, the couple together. But I have to admit, man, I love that he's a black guy, too. Hey, right? Come on, man. The guy is black, man.
But the funny thing about our casting process is we didn't care what anyone looked like. I have an adopted sister. We don't care where she's from. We'll tailor it to the actress we find. I have a husband. We don't care what he looks like.
Yeah.
And he has a brother. And so we didn't care. We just saw everyone and we picked the best actors. And so that felt like a progressive thing instead of like checking things off the list.
Yeah. It felt like you didn't care and that he wasn't placed there because he was black.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see that happen and you go, oh, they fit in the quota here, got to have this person. And that was one of the fewer times I watched a series and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And for some reason I was even that much more happier about it.
Well, it's also it's a show that takes place in Northeast Los Angeles. There's all different kinds of financial differences. There's all different walks of life. Everyone, I mean, the city of Los Angeles, especially the East Side, has so much change in it from when it was created. It was a largely Asian population, and then it just started to grow. It's now becoming gentrified. So it's a really interesting part of Los Angeles, and we wanted our screen to represent what that part of Los Angeles looks like. So that's with like everything from the people at the grief group and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that was good. I went to Hudson in East LA this past weekend.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that's a restaurant in East LA.
Oh, it's a restaurant.
Okay.
I thought it was a neighborhood.
Nah, it's a great restaurant. DB, you saw it too.
Yeah, I was watching it, and I was just curious because I'm it's probably just a coincidence that you're here on 9/11 and you're talking about this series that deals with coping with the loss of someone you love. And I'm sure a lot of people that, you know, whether they lost someone in 9/11 or know someone who did, they can understand or identify with your character especially. And so I'm just curious about what made you want to do this project and EP this project, not just star in it specifically, as opposed to, because I'm sure you probably have had other offers to work on behind the scenes stuff like that, but why this?
I just felt like it was a gap in storytelling. Grief, and I know that there's This Is Us, and people have explained that to me, and I haven't seen it.
It's good.
That's what I've heard. But from what I know, I do feel like we're trying to approach it from a a very grounded point of view in storytelling, and very relatable. And there are no like crazy mysteries and surprises. We learn eventually how he dies. We learn that he suffers from depression, but you never get answers when people die unexpectedly. And that is part of the work that you have to do, is be okay with not having answers.
Right.
Be okay with not having answers. Elizabeth Olsen, a.k.a. Lizard, is here.
I just like calling her that all the time.
That's gonna be, I'm a serial out on the streets, industry events. Lizard. The series is called Sorry for Your Loss. It's premiering Tuesday on Facebook Watch. Make sure you get it, and then after that, 2 episodes every single week. You want to talk with Elizabeth Olsen? 888-742-3345. Her boyfriend is in a band called
Milo Green.
Their new single is called
Move,
from the new album, which is called
Adult Contemporary.
Make sure you get it. Here it is. That's Elizabeth Olsen playing Lee Shaw, and she's interacting with Kelly Marie Tran as Jules Shaw.
Yes.
Your adopted sister, and the mother's in there as well.
Janet McTeer.
Yeah, and then your character is just dealing with grief. Lost her husband, and everybody can get it. Get out my way, don't talk no shit. Everybody can get it.
Yeah, and I think also Jules, who Kelly plays, is sober, and I feel like that is another thing that becomes someone's entire identity. And I'm not generalizing, but there is like narcissistic tendencies a lot with addiction. So everyone's so used to it being about her, and now the fact that it's about Lee, everyone's usually, it's like the sister is the issue, and now she's the issue, and so there's a great reversal there, the sister relationships.
Yeah, man, y'all go back and forth really, really hard in it, and I've dealt with grief from family loss. I never lost a lover, I've never been married, but still, grief shit is grief. The interesting dynamic I find too is his brothers. The interaction between your character and his brother's character, and
Giovanna Depo.
Yeah, and he's telling you, well, look, I know you got it hard, but you could always get married again.
Yeah.
Where I can never have another brother. So you guys really explore grief from 360 degrees. Right?
Yeah, from everyone's point of view, who's been affected by this man having an unexpected death.
All right, but it's a really good series. We don't want to discourage nobody.
Humor.
There's some funny moments too,
But it's important
laughter.
to have that, because a lot of times people will feel like it's a burden for me to continue having a conversation about missing someone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So this show is really a form of catharsis for a lot of the viewers. And what I was wondering is, I was speaking to my sister who's in med school, and she's doing rotations, and she told me about the doctor she's working with is a medical consultant for the show Power for whenever, like, you know, someone gets injured or ends up in the hospital. I'm wondering, since this has so much to do with psychology, do you guys consult with a psychologist at all?
Yeah, we did. We had a doctor. I can't remember his name right now. I'm so sorry. But we had a doctor who we used also as our point person to discuss depression, so that, because I feel like a lot of times when we even see things about depression, there's like something so extreme about it, when really just trying to meditate, taking your pills, trying to eat right, those are the things you're prescribed to do, and there's nothing really that glorious or dramatic about it.
Right.
So we worked with him on that. And also the thing that we were talking about is people never stop having a relationship with whoever has passed. That relationship continues for the rest of your life. And the thing I learned from it is that some people don't want, like, you get awkward, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't bring it up because maybe they don't want to feel that way right now. But actually, people like talking about the person they lost because they want them to be remembered. And that's another part of the show, is we talk a lot about, or we explore memory visually, and we go back into flashbacks, but it's also about how we remember.
Right.
And how we don't want the memories to fade away. We want them to stay specific. We don't want to lose them physically and in our memories.
Well, that's interesting. We had Elizabeth Olsen is joining us. Sorry for your loss. Premiering next Tuesday on Facebook Watch. We have Mr. Fab, F-A-B, who is a rapper out of the Bay Area, that shared with us that he kept, after his mother passed away, that he kept her last voicemail. You know what I mean, in his phone. So every year.
Oh, it was deeper than that. He kept paying the phone bill
too,
so he could keep hearing her voice. You know, so it was just, he would just be able to call and hear her message, you know. So he kept paying the phone bill of his mom, who was deceased. And so to your point, I think that's what Sway's saying. Yeah. You have very specific memories of people that you want to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is not just that, you know. So I don't want people to be like, "Damn, am I going to turn to this? Am I going to watch it?" But it's real. It's so real. And you always do such a great job. Maybe there's somebody dealing with grief that's out there. Or maybe this rings a bell, touches home. 888-742-3345. Give us a call. We got Isaac on the line from North Carolina. What's up, Isaac?
Hey, Isaac.
Hi, Isaac.
Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, man, shout out to Sway in the morning. Shout out to Heather B, Tracy G, all y'all. Shout out to the whole team.
Thank you.
Y'all help my morning go by real smooth. But I also want to say I hope that you take a moment in your day to have a moment of silence for all those who lost somebody on this tragic day in our history on the September 11th, 2001. So I want to say that. But also want to say shout out to Elizabeth Olsen, because I'm listening to the conversation that y'all are having, and it's really inspiring to see how you are pushing the culture forward as a woman, and you're letting people know, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, I can hang with the big dogs too. You know what I'm saying? Because you take pride, you take ownership in what is yours, and I respect that.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Especially seeing how you know what I'm saying, as women, y'all have battles that y'all have to fight, you know what I'm saying, that are typically uphill. But I respect it, and that's all I want to say to you.
I really appreciate that.
All right,
thanks,
pretty
Isaac.
good. Hey, man, can you make sure you watch her series next week, too? Keep her empowered.
I definitely will. I'm going to try and watch it with my wife, you know what I'm saying? That's why I say that, because my wife is that kind of woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I respect it a lot, because, my wife is a blessing to me. You know what I'm saying? She hold me down, you know what I'm saying? She's part of the reason I am the man I am today.
That's what's up.
Wow, that's what's up. And Elizabeth was supporting her boyfriend. We played his music today, so y'all gotta. She's like your wife, man. Isaac, you a citizen, brother.
And your wife is Sway in the morning.
Okay, we got B on the line from South Carolina. Good morning, B.
Big.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Say hello to Elizabeth Olsen.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hey, B.
Great project. I thank you for that, because I look forward to seeing this project. I lost my dad about 3 years ago, and I lost my mom about a week ago.
Oh, my God.
Sorry
I'm so sorry.
And I come from like an African tradition, and, well, we do a lot of remembering. It's like all type of different festivals and rituals and things that we do for remembering our loved ones that passed, especially the great ones. And it's to a point to where we're kind of like always bombarded with their memory because the tradition tells the family and the friends to do certain things that will always keep remembering that individual. And, you know, I mean, it's not type of tradition and dances and drum beats and everything, just to make sure that you remember this individual person, you know. And that helped me a lot. I still don't know how to do it, how to deal with it. Every time somebody come to me, they expect me to smile and think about what y'all was talking about when y'all was saying we want to hear somebody bring up our loved ones. We do, because it actually gives us in a warmer feeling. It's like we're being held by the together.
You guys touch on that too. I'm sorry, but I mean to cut you off, but there's a scene where you and Matt's brother are talking about. I hate when people. Danny. I apologize. You talk about the different things that people say. You know, I want to send my condolences, or sorry.
Would love to donate to a charity,
or sorry for your loss. And I thought that was really on point as well. And that's kind of what B is saying, I think, right?
Well, yeah, and I think what's so special about cultures that celebrate about someone who is passed. I just think that's such a nice tradition. Like with we got to see it in Coco, and there's something really beautiful about commemorating someone who we've lost, instead of what we also do. It's like, oh, she's so strong, she's not crying or something. Like, what does that mean? And this really awkward tension that happens, but I can also understand how, if you're never stopping these celebrations for such a long period of time, how much stress that could put on the person who has lost their parents. I mean, that's so tragic.
So tragic.
Yeah.
I'm a pivot right now, Elizabeth Olsen, aka Lizard. But man, this is a series you all want to see. It's relatable to everybody who's within the sound of our voice. Sorry for Your Loss, premiering Tuesday, September 18th. Facebook Watch, new platform. But Facebook has a huge community, so I'm sure you're going to get a lot of metrics. You know, that's EP talk. You know what I mean? You know, so that should do well. But before you go, we came up with a game here at Sway in the Morning, and it's called
Guess the Avenger. Many superheroes from the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been on this show. Those her co-stars. It's Guess the Avenger. Right now, on Sway in the Morning.
She looks so nervous.
Well, we've done this with like biceps. We've had to guess the Avenger by looking at biceps.
That's right.
This might be a little bit more difficult.
A little different.
Yeah.
So well thought out.
We've had some of your friends, your co-stars, your Avenger mates on this show before in the past, and we want to see if you could guess them by their voice.
Okay.
All right. First clip.
I mean, we have an on-set gym, which we all sort of, to try and...
We have an on-set gym. Yeah, Hemsworth.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, he lives at that gym, on-set gym. I think we actually have it for him because he has his biceps showing at all times.
There you go.
Chris Hemsworth. Okay, you got that one, right?
All right. Number 2.
I opened the screen, and then it said my name, and I went nuts.
These are so easy.
It's
It's Holland, yeah.
Okay, Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Yeah. What about him? You got an anecdote about him?
He's just sweet and little.
Okay. All right.
And he can't keep a secret.
Okay.
Number 3.
He enjoyed a good pool hall and a good glass of beer.
Yeah, well, it's Mackie. Mackie and I go to football games together now.
Oh, damn.
All right. Maybe number 4 will trip you up.
Maybe that's it.
We can't wait to get to those scenes where we get to go head to head.
Cheadle.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're not even thinking about it?
No. But we spend so much time together. And also, he's the funniest person on set, so you hear a lot of good stories from Don.
Okay, Don Cheadle.
All right, I threw in a bonus one just in case you got them all right.
Press tours are intense, and they take you all over the world.
I'll tell you that we go to Cleveland this weekend. That's where we always end our press tours.
It's Joan Anthony.
Fuck.
Damn, the Russo brothers.
I was like, who is that?
Almost.
He got them all.
Very good. You know all your co-stars.
Lizard wins.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I should have did like Guardians or something like that. Maybe you would have, because you didn't spend as much time with them.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Shut up, Tracy.
All right. Hey, Elizabeth, thanks for coming by this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Always good to see you.
Good to be here.
And make sure y'all check out Sorry for Your Loss Tuesday. And make sure you get the new album, Adult Contemporary.
Milo Green.
Okay. The biggest radio promoter right here. You should invoice your man.
This is by far like the best show they could ever hope to be on.
Really? Well, anytime. Tell her they got to come and perform next. Yeah. They got to come perform a song for us. Yeah. All right? And you got to introduce them like you're Dick Clark or somebody. All right? All right, cool. Thanks for coming by. Up next, we got Vivica A. Fox, and we're going to do some Celebrity Wire.
Yup, because Nicki Minaj responded to Cardi B.
Shade 45.